إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون نزلا من غفور رحيم. ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين. صدق الله العظيم. Alhamdulillah thumma alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted us to come to His house to listen to the words of Allah, our Creator, to listen to the beautiful words of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our coming. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our sitting here and all forms of ibadat that we may be engaged in only by tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. It's not easy for me to share the news that the founder of this madrasa, this masjid, the girls' school, and without a doubt, not only in the state of New York, throughout United States, and I want to take the courage to say not just United States and Canada, throughout the North American continent, through whom Islam, just the way it was taught and practiced in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in the time of Sahaba Kiram, the person many of you are not even aware of is known as Dr. Ismail Memon, has passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I can only say many of you have not even seen, and I honestly have not seen the true buffalo. If you go back and find out what was the economic condition and the violence and the drugs and the state of this city 20 years ago, not too far long, you will find that Buffalo was counted within top 10 cities of the whole entire United States when it comes to violence, city violence, and all other mischiefs. All I can think of is there was, and of course, when I say it, I'm not increasing Hazrat from where he was. I'm just giving an example that one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, Makkah became known at that time when it was a barren city, when there was nobody. Through Ismail of our time, Buffalo is what you see today. Honestly, if 100 years later, if there was a mu'arrikh, a historian was to come, and without putting, and I'm not saying a Muslim historian, I'm saying any historian was to come, and without bias, if he was to write anything about Buffalo and what brought it from here to where we are today, he will not forget to include Dr. Ismail Memon's name in that history. He cannot. Lot of us, you know, the word lot of us is a very small number. Many of us has a limit. I don't even know how many of us have changed our lives because of Dr. Ismail Memon rahimahullah. You know, people make masajid, and we are aware of that. People make Madaaris, and we are aware of that. But the change that is brought through that masjid in any society that you and I are aware of, I can say, maybe there are many. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just does not make only one to spread his deen other than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But in my knowledge, there is no example of the way deen was spread out, passed on, practiced as much as it was done because of the presence of Hazrat Dr. Ismail Memon rahimahullah. The environment that we smell here, our hair feel the barakat and the khair that is found in Buffalo. No matter how many differences you might have against the person, you cannot refuse. You cannot decline. You cannot say, no, it doesn't exist. I personally have been visited by, and I'm sitting here on the mimbar, with all honesty, I am saying that I have been visited by a member from BBC News to be interviewed about what policies, what actions were taken that the city has transformed from where it was to what it is now. They were not talking about me. They were talking about the founder of this madrasa, the founder of this masjid, the founder of many Madaaris, Dr. Ismail Memon rahimahullah. People give sacrifices. When we are making our homes, we give sacrifice. Who doesn't give sacrifice? Here, if I ask you to write the sacrifices that you have given for your house, the whole night will finish and you'll continue to write. For Hazrat, I will say the whole month will finish and we have volumes of sacrifices. You know, something comes to my mind. I don't know, I came unprepared. I don't know what I'm saying. In fact, to be very honest with you, when I was stepping out of the house, I didn't even know what ayah to recite to begin my khutbah today. The only ayah that I could think of was that I recited in the beginning, which simply translates to Inna alladhina qalu Rabbuna Allah. And this is a lesson for us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the qualities of Muslims. It's all of us. It's not only limited to Sahaba. It's not only limited to awliya Allah. It's not only limited to ulama. It's not only limited to the people who have beard. It's not only limited to who come 5 times daily. It's for everyone. It's for, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. It's for the worst of the Muslims. It's for me. Inna alladhina qalu rabbuna Allah. Those who say that Allah is our Rabb. He is the one. What is the meaning of Rabb? There is a difference. Allah and Rabb. We cannot even translate the word Allah. To be very honest, we cannot even translate the word Rabb. Because the word Rabb includes so many meanings. Everything that goes with, around us, that happens to us. Health, wealth, life, death, happiness, sorrow, food, money coming in, money going away, taking care of our needs, taking care of our necessities, our desires. One word, Rabb. When we say Allah is our Rabb, what is expected out of us? ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. Istiqamah, steadfast. Firm on what you believe in, that Allah is doing everything. That it is can anyone in the right mind have thought that this huge place was bought back in 1991, or actually 1903 maybe, when there were only 3 or 4 people sitting in the Jummah, and it took years for them to have, years, I'm not talking about months here, okay, years to have 7 people. I started leading, alhamdulillah, with the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah gave me the opportunity to lead Jummah since 2003, maybe 4. There were 7 people. We're talking about a decade of existence of this masjid. In Jummah there were 7 to 9 people. This whole entire stuff was not even full. That place was enough, plenty, more than enough for people to come for Jummah. ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. Steadfastness. Istiqamah. Jam kar kaam karna. People get tired. You know, after 10 years, you're spending the money, you're making an effort, you're sitting, you're making dua, you're taking all the means that are in your hands so this house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be where it is today. Istiqamat ke saath, jam ke, lage rehna, we find that in our life. We find that in the life of Hazrat Dr. Ismail Memon rahimahullah. And I want everyone to know this name, that you know it, I know it, but do our children know it? You know, history is something that makes us or breaks us. You forget about the history, you forget about the history of Sahaba, what guidance do you have? What light you have to follow? But then you can always say that, well, they were Sahaba, you know, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was among them. They didn't have car insurances. They didn't have to pay for house insurances. They didn't have their businesses. Well, they did. They have their responsibilities. They had more responsibilities than us. They just did not have the responsibility of feeding their families and themselves. They had a greater responsibility, and that was to pass on the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With istiqamah, don't give up. Hazrat Dr. Ismail Memon rahimahullah lived that example. Allama Iqbal, sabhi ne suna hoga, jab hum chote se the, when we were small in Pakistan, sometime as I said, I came unprepared. I don't even know what I was going to talk about other than to make the announcement. So anything that I'm going to say, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take out the right words out of my mouth. Allama Iqbal, we've been memorizing, listening about the name ever since we were 3 or 4 years old. In Pakistan, in the beginning of the school day, Every day we are taught to recite a prayer. We, as I think even when we were like 12, 13 years old, we never understood what it meant. Until I saw the life of Hazrat, myself. The prayer starts with, and this is how the schools in Pakistan begin. Lappe aati hai dua ban ke tamanna meri. Zindagi shamma ki surat ho khudaya meri. Wholeheartedly, if anyone over here was to find out about the sacrifices over here, you will be saying, this shama, this light was Hazrat Dr. Ismail Memon. Lappe aati hai dua ban ke tamanna meri. This prayer comes on my, these words come on my lips as a prayer, that my life become a candle. Zindagi shamma ki surat ho khudaya meri, that Ya Allah, my life become like a candle which lights the other, which illuminates the other, which burns, which dies. At the end of the day, there is nothing left. But you light other people. You make sure that you melt. And I've mentioned it multiple times. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted me to service deen, to serve this place and any other place that I may be involved in. One time, I raised an objection to one of my peers, one of my teammates. I said, you know what? Who made this bathroom downstairs? Now, mashallah, you're seeing beautiful bathroom, right? There were bathrooms, nice tile work. But the tile work, the way it was done, where the drain was up on top and the slant was in the bottom. So I raised an objection because I was taking care of the structural repairs. And I said, come on, man, who made this? Forget about who made it. Didn't you guys see what he was doing? The drain is up on top in the bathroom and all the water gathers here. So every time you use the bathroom, you will literally have to physically spend more time to push that water up above the drain. So there is no water. There was good 4 inches of water left in every toilet downstairs. So I raised this objection. It wasn't a concern. I made fun of it. So I said, okay, whoever made it, who cares? Didn't you guys see him? Like what he did? And you know what the answer was? The man who still works with me, he said, listen, these bathrooms were made, you know this tile, nice tile. Oh, they were always tiles in the beginning. The idea was to serve the members of this masjid, the guests of this masjid, I shouldn't be using the word member, the guests of this masjid, that they come and they don't have any issues. So from the very beginning, tiles were put in. But they were put in wrong. So when I raised the objection, the answer was, this tile job was done when the contractor was paid using dimes and nickels. Using dimes and nickels. Not this place, the other place in East Aurora. When we go on 219, we see the sign East Aurora. That's where Darul Ulum al-Madaniyah started, here in the United States. Electric company would not open electricity until $3,500 was deposited in the account as a collateral. This is, the information that I'm giving you, I have heard it directly from Hazrat. Not once, multiple times. There was no $3,500 in the account. We're talking about 1991. To have $3,500 at that time was like having $13,500 in your account. for 1 week and confirm it with the people who are around here, Sayyid Saab, Mehboob Bhai, Rafiq Bhai. And by the way, these people who are here today, each one of them, now they're living a life of an unknown person. Each one of them have given, I'm just saying it, they've given their lives. But you never know what it means, what's behind it. They've given their strengths, they've given their money, they've bought houses and donated, they've got jewelry in their houses and brought it. So this place is what it looks like today. Every single one of those people who have been part of Darul Uloom back then, when people were paid using dimes and nickels, they have given sacrifices beyond imagination. For 1 week there was no electricity. Hazrat was coming in. Sayyid Sahab also come in from Waterloo to get the place ready. They got the possession, but there is no electricity. Winter nights, and it was no different than what it is right now. One of these days it got so late and they got so tired that they did not have enough strength, and the sons were not here at that time. Maulana Ibrahim, Maulana Mansoor, they were studying in England. They got so late in working, there was no courage, there was no strength to drive 2.5 hours back to Waterloo and sleep and to come here next day again. They decided to sleep inside the madrasa in East Aurora. Well, there's no electric, there's no gas, and they did not come prepared. It was all about, we just got the possession, we have to clean up. You know what was done? And that just, subhanallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on Hazrat's soul. Throughout the building, cardboard was looked for. You may be thinking cardboard was looked for to make it as a mattress. They didn't care about it. Cardboard was looked for. Whatever paper was found, whatever cardboards were found, they were put in one place. They was put on fire. So, to do what? So the floor can be heated up. So they could sit on the floor or lie on it. Forget about sleeping. This is what I was talking about, that everyone gives sacrifices. You have to give sacrifice. Without sacrifice, nothing comes. No pain, no gain. These are the sacrifices that were given by this man. And I want every one of us to know this name. And I want every one of us to make sure that our children know this name as well, that this place is where we are today. Of course, it's the community's contribution. Many of us have migrated, literally migrated. But their sacrifice was for migration. I've been talking about it for past few Fridays. It just happened. After this migration, like Sahaba, what contribution is given to this community from you and I? What is my contribution to this community? We talked about it. Last Friday we talked about the manaqib, the fadail, the virtues, the qualities of Sahaba that are mentioned in Surah Hashr. Before that Friday, we talked about the fadail, the manaqib, the virtues of Sahaba which are mentioned in Surah Fatah. And I raised a question to everyone, that these manaqib, these fazail, are they mentioned for the purpose so we start loving the Sahaba? Or is it only limited to so we bring these qualities into ourselves? Of course, the wisdom behind mentioning these definitely is known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we can always say that these fadail of Sahaba were mentioned in one place, not just one. Multiple manaqib were mentioned of Sahaba in groups. Sahaba were mentioned in groups, community. And I reminded, we reflected on those ayah which talk about the manaqib of Sahaba in the Quran, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning the contributions of those Sahaba in Medina Munawwara. And I raised that question, that what is my contribution? I have also migrated. Hijrah is done. I've left my family. Many of us have left our families. Many have left the, nice houses, nice apartment buildings. No issues there. Most definitely not this severe winter that we have. Of course it comes in once in a while. The hijrah is done. The sacrifice for hijrah is done from all of us. What is our contribution to our community? If we are really interested in finding out what is called a contribution, a living contribution, sadaqah jariyah. In English, in business world, they talk about sustainability. What sustainable contribution I have in this community? What sadaqah jariyah, what contribution in the form of sadaqah jariyah I'm leaving for this community and wherever you're from. The life of Hazrat Dr. Ismail Memon teaches us that when you leave this world, leave a contribution in your community, in your family, that is sustainable, that becomes a form of sadaqah jariyah. Not for just that time, for the people to come until the end of time, inshaAllah. Can you imagine how many people make wudu downstairs and everyone gets a reward? Hazrat gets a reward. Can you imagine how many people would enter the masjid and put their shoes and come and sit here on this carpet? Can you imagine the vision and the care and concern for Hazrat and how much love he had with Medina Munawwara? Not many of you guys are aware of the fact, this carpet that you're sitting on, it's actually from Medina Munawwara, made in Medina Munawwara. Darul Uloom Al-Madaniyah, and I think we talked about it, Darul Uloom Al-Madaniyah is not just a name, there's a history behind Al-Madaniyah. And that's why we keep this carpet so dear and near. Not because it's masjid carpet, that it has a nisbat of Medina Munawwara. As a community, we represent Medina Munawwara. What was Medina Munawwara? Medina Munawwara was a city where each and every Sahabi had contributed whatever he could. People contributed in the form of wealth. People contributed in the form of ilm. People contributed in the form of helping others. People contributed in the form of learning. People contributed in the form of passing on whatever they had. That was their contribution. One man arranged for us the protection of our iman and the protection of the iman of our naslain, our generations. This is called sustainable contribution. This is called true sadaqah jariyah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to understand how we need to live our lives when we look at the life of pious predecessors. And we might be excusing ourselves by saying, well, these people in the past, they had a different environment. No, there was a man known as Dr. Ismail Memon who lived in our time. He used to drive. He had a driver's license. He used to fly. He used to meet people. He would attend wedding ceremonies. He would invite people to his house. He would have issues. He would come here, he would greet everyone, and like any other human being, he would live just like a human being. For ourselves and for our children to live a legacy If we are looking for someone in our time, this place is a living example, is a speaking biography of Dr. Ismail Memon. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive his soul. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enter him to Jannah without reckoning. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us carry on this sadaqah jariyah on his behalf until our last breath. I'm not sure what time the janazah will be arranged, and I have already received many phone calls about inquiry about how do we get there. I think this is just a suggestion. It will be an honor for us. And I know I'm going to take too long. As I said, I came unprepared. Hazrat Saharanpuri rahimahullah ta'ala, when he arrived in Makkah and he saw Baytullah for the first time, he recited a couplet. And I would appreciate if Dr. Niyaz can correct me. Vaguely I remember that. कहाँ मैं और कहाँ ये, डॉक्टर नियाज, कहाँ मैं और कहाँ ये नसीम सुबह तेरी मेहरबानी. क्या इसके शुरू में क्या है, पता नहीं क्या है. बहरहाल, I'll just explain it to you. I cannot stop talking today. To be very honest with you, I came unprepared. I can't stop talking to you. As more ideas are coming, I'm just going to express it. Hazrat Saharanpuri rahimahullah ta'ala, who was the Shaykh of Hazrat Shaykh al-Hadith Maulana Zakariyah rahimahullah ta'ala. And Maulana Zakariyah is the Shaykh of Hazrat Dr. Ismail Memon. So Hazrat Saharanpuri, when he approached, when he saw Baytullah for the first time, he uttered a couplet, a share. Kahan main aur kahan ye, something he, I forget the word. What is this beautiful sight in front of me, and how dirty I am to be able to see it. I have nothing in my hands. All of this is the fadl of the beautiful morning. That I was blessed with this beautiful morning, and that's why I'm able to see Baytullah. So it will be an opportunity for each one of us to attend. I already received a few phone calls about when are we going, when is Janazah. Janazah is sometime tomorrow. And sometime tomorrow means that it doesn't have to be, this is all I got from in my text. It doesn't have to be in Zohar time. It could be at 10 o'clock, it could be at 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever time it may be. People are making plans. It will be a good idea to go in carpooling. Maybe it'll be a good idea if some brothers can take responsibility of putting it on the post. We can set up the group departures from this masjid or any other place. This way it's easier for everyone. It's a 2 hour, no actually it's a 3.5, 4 hour ride. 3.5 hour ride. Be prepared when you go there. It's very cold. Jazakumullah khair. We will have a few minutes for Sunnah as well, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.